Hello, class. Again, I'm Joseph Davis. Building on some of the things that we've talked about in the past, tonight I'm going to talk to you briefly, cover some key points on organizational leadership. A couple of key points I believe that are relevant, very critical to the success of any organization, whether it be a nonprofit, a private sector, or public sector, such as a governmental organization. I've got 3 points, and those 3 points that I want to tell you about are vision, direction, and expectations. While the establishment of any organizational leadership is essential to the success of any organization, it is essential for each organization to have defined their vision, the direction, and their expectations. Now, take into consideration, for example, vision. What does vision mean within an organizational structure? Again, going back to whether it's public sector, governmental, private sector, or nonprofit organizations, vision and mission statements, if they don't have a vision, if they don't have an end goal, if they don't have mission statements, they're really lacking in the direction of where they're going. And without vision or direction, there's really no way to establish expectations. And that's what I'm going to tell you about tonight. That's what we're going to kind of discuss in depth for the next 5 to 10 minutes here. If you've ever been on a trip with your family or alone, you've taken trips and you know where you're going. In my mind, vision is a place on the map where you want to arrive. That is your end goal. Vision is a place where you see yourself or your business or your organization or your nonprofit, or yourself rather, down the road, whether it be a short-term vision or a long-term vision. It is all the same and it's relevant within organizational leadership. Now, how we have to sit down to define vision, we look at what we're trying to accomplish within the confines of our organization. Again, it goes back to the 3 classifications I've mentioned a couple of times already. Now, whether we have a business that gives a daily delivery of services, or whether we are driven by a sales atmosphere or marketing-based business, or whether we're providing a public service, we all have a vision. We all have end goals. And without vision within an organization, we're not going to have a great deal of success as it pertains to organizational leadership. And I believe that it is a responsibility of the organizational leadership to ensure that their team members, the subordinates, however you want to classify them, are all aware of the vision. And it's critical that the leadership in any organization makes this known and is aware. Tying into vision within an organization, I look at direction. Now, while we have a place on the map, while we have an address or a place put into our GPS where we want to go, we need to know how we're going to get there. And really, without knowing how we're going to get there, we're not complete within our organizational leadership. It is the function of any classification of leadership within an organization to define and tell the organization this is how we're going to get where we really want to go. Within an organization, whether it be a military setting or a law enforcement setting, governmental setting, nonprofit, whatever the case may be, there's an established chain of command, if you will. And within this established chain of command, board of directors, command staff, there are meetings that are held to discuss the direction and success of any given mission or operation or business plan. And it's the function of leadership within an organization to establish direction for how the business and organization is going to arrive at their end goal. Without the vision, without the direction, there's going to be a reduced amount of success for any organization. Recently, I was put in a position for a nonprofit organization, and the nonprofit organization was having financial difficulties, overall order issues as it pertains to order within the organization and the meetings. They were lacking in participation. They were lacking in fundraising efforts. It was just an entire array of issues. And through my experience and through the knowledge and skills that I've obtained through my short time on earth and as an adult and my various experiences, I was able to give some advice, not as a board member, not as an elected official, but rather as just a silent voice that was just giving some advice. One of the first things I noticed was a lack of vision. There was a lack of vision. How are we going to tell 270 people that we can help them when we can't help ourselves or the organization because we don't know where we're going and we don't know how we're going to get there and we don't know really what to expect of ourselves? We're setting ourselves up for failure and embarrassment. So through counseling and consulting with the board of directors, through counseling and consulting with some of the concerned parents of an organization, we were able to really identify some of the key issues, and it goes back to a couple of the points that I've just mentioned: vision and direction. The third point I want to tell you about is expectations. Within any type of function, whether self-employed, whether we work for a governmental agency, or if we work for a business, if we punch in and punch out every day and we have the time card, if you're an hourly employee, expectations need to be made clear to ensure success for an individual or an organization. Expectations are critical. Expectations are the assigned duties and delegated responsibilities and goals for each team member. They are the roles, if you would like to break it down in simpler terms, of the navigator and the driver. I like to look at the executive board of any given organization really as the navigating body, as the body that says this is how we're going to get there. And then you have your team members who do the legwork, who are doing the driving, who are punching through, and really are the contributing factors to your success. Expectation goes hand in hand with any given point in organizational leadership. So how do we get there? Direction says how do we get there? Vision says where do we want to go? And expectations is you know your role in a team effort. You know your responsibility within this organization. And within any organization, in the leadership structure, it's critical to know each of these 3 points and each of these 3 factors. And to recap, vision says, where do I want to go? Where do we want to go? As an organization, where are we headed? Without vision, there's no direction. Without vision, we wander aimlessly and we're without purpose. Vision comes from a defined mission. What is our overall mission? How can it lead us to determining our vision? These are a couple of key points that we could discuss further within an organizational leadership discussion and briefing. Direction, how do we get there? Establish a team plan for who understands how we're going to get to an accomplished mission. How are we going to accomplish 100 sales per month in automobile sales? Or how are we going to accomplish 100% customer satisfaction within a service delivery function of an organization? How are we going to do this? It's a process that we must define, and it's a process that we have to define if we're going to see any amount of success. Within direction, communication is critical. Within expectations, communication is critical. Really at any level, from top to bottom, if you will, of any organization, communication is the blood of any organization. Communicate the plan. If you're the CEO, it's critical that you communicate the plan, communicate the vision, communicate the mission, all the way down to the guy that's just starting out with your company, with your organization. I hope that over the past 10 minutes that I've been able to shed some light on organizational leadership. with any organization within that organization, it's critical for there to be a defined mission, a defined direction on how to obtain that mission and achieve that mission, as well as the expectations made known within the organization. I trust that this has been beneficial to you and helps you in the future. Take care.